Hi, Hearties. Welcome to Heart, our chat with our cast and crew with When Calls the Heart. I'm Dawn Bateman.
And I'm Annette, an admin from South Carolina.
And I'm Kim, an admin from Ontario, Canada.
Today, we have our head costume designer, Barbara Gregusova, with us today. So welcome, Barbara.
Thank you so much for having me again.
We really wanted to kind of follow up with you. Last time, we could not really talk about the period costumes with a period show. That's your Halloween costumes. And then, the twinning from the Elizabeth and Rosemary, the Reds. We're talking about the accessories, shoes, so many things that we want to talk about. So in the last chat, more technical stuff about the process, the time that you have, things like that. So we really want to kind of delve in about the design and the things that we really love. So for the season 9, now that it's televised, and what was your favorite costume? That I know that you don't really have a lot of favorite, but the thing that you could, like the ones that had to be built from scratch, what was your favorite one in season 9?
Actually, I really like the new costumes for Ellie.
Oh, yeah.
So we had to make her the new pants.
Like the jumper?
Yeah, to jump.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So it's just always interesting to find the right fabric, right? Because especially because of COVID, there is definitely shortage.
Really?
Yeah, there is definitely, because I shop all the fabrics are shopped in Vancouver, so mostly, especially now, since I cannot really travel much.
Right.
I used to, before the COVID, when I used to go to LA or Europe, I usually bought some fabrics there and brought them here. But unfortunately, I wasn't really traveling much. So we are using mostly all local resources or what we have in a stock. So, some of the dresses she wore this season, which are the new ones, so we actually, ordered from Simple Retro, I think it's called.
You're talking about the alley one? The
Yeah,
alley
ones.
okay.
But they were basically for adults, so we had to, totally reconstruct them for her. Because
Wow.
she's not adult yet.
Yeah.
No?
So that was fun. I mean, I think the kids are just always fun, right? And I did like the Halloween costumes, so that was quite fun. But originally there were different characters. So when I talked to you last time, we actually didn't have Romeo and Juliet in original first draft of the script, and we didn't have Cleopatra and Mark Anthony either. So it
Really?
so it was completely different characters.
Wow.
I don't really and there was I think there was 3 costumes instead of 2 as well.
Wow.
Oh,
Can you say who those characters were?
I'm thinking I know 2, but one was more from 20s, like 1930s. It was a famous couple, but I would not remember the names because they are Americans, unfortunately.
Right.
But then we had the Raggedy Ann and Raggedy Andy.
Oh, yeah.
So those were the costumes which we when I talked to you last time, those were the ones which we already cut. So we already had the fabric, they were already ready to go and to be sewn.
Oh my word!
And
so that's the Raggedy Ann. The one? Oh,
so
really?
that was the one I mentioned last time, and then they basically changed the characters. So, and I don't know if the third one was actually Antony and Cleopatra, but I cannot really remember. I feel like there was somebody else.
Yeah, Jill and Pam, hair and makeup. They said that there were others, but it was never really not scripted, but it was never filmed. So we didn't see.
They were. Yeah, it was basically we started the prep for the episode with other characters, and then how the rewrites came in, they basically changed the couples to
oh wow
on the screen. And those were fun, but we don't have really that much time to build those costumes, you know. So even if I would want to build them all from scratch, like we wouldn't really have the time or resources. So it was combination actually of rental and buying.
Mm,
Well, not buying, actually making.
right, right.
Right.
But I had to buy the fabric, so I guess
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Wow.
Well, they were wonderful.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Barbara, you talked in our first chat that Hallmark is loving your work. And Emily from Alabama asked, what's the process for Hallmark approving costume designs? How does that work? Do you send them up like for each episode or in a block, or, you know, or, do you like actually superimpose them on the actors, or like actually take pictures of them and send them first, or how does that go?
it really depends. Also, like it depends also on a show for Hallmark, but since we are specifically talking about When Calls the Heart, it also specifically depends on a character. So and the time let's put it this way. Last year I wanted to add more blouses to Minnie's closet. So we basically I had all the blouses, we did a fitting on a set. I took pictures of the blouses, but just one skirt, because the skirt was, you know, something already in her closet. And then I sent all the pictures to Hallmark for approval of the blouses to basically add them to her closet. So so it wasn't really specific for the episode. It's more just like you kind of know like what you need and what, you know, like for the whole season. So even for Lucas, like I knew I wanted to give him new suits, so I ordered a bunch of the suits, and then, you know, we fitted them, and then also on set, which sometimes is very hard to schedule. um and yeah, and then there is this website where you post pictures for approvals, and then the Hallmark says what they like, what they don't like. On Hallmark, they're pretty great. It's Lori, and she's amazing, and I worked with her for a long time, so I think that just makes it very like easier. And sometimes, you know, if there is something specific, sometimes if you just write emails, it really depends like what's needed and, you know, how tight of a schedule we have. But yeah, like on contemporary shows, basically for Hallmark, you know, you do a fitting, and then you upload all the pictures from the fitting on this website, and then they comment like what's approved and all these other details.
Okay. Well, that's
Like,
interesting.
make
So
the collar tighter.
you do that like in the beginning of the season, or is it a process that is just kind of you know, every block that you have to do like a new character or whatever? I don't know. I don't.
Yeah, so if you have a new character, let's say like we had May, right? So as soon as I had fitting with her, then I posted the pictures from the fitting. I mean, for ladies, it's really hard because we are doing lots of reconstructions.
Mhm.
So, you know, like lots of things, if you send a picture of, don't necessarily make sense because it doesn't really tell you how it's actually going to look at the end.
Yeah.
You know, because like even let's say there was a blouse for Erin, I don't think this year, but like I think it was the last, yeah, season 8, and it was from Zara, and you know, like we are manipulating the sleeves, right? So we are like shortening the sleeves, so suddenly you have something like this. So
Yeah.
you know, so it doesn't really translate.
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
Because we do like a full reconstruction, since I use lots of like a contemporary pieces, or you know, pieces which we can find in stores, and then we completely reconstruct them. So it wouldn't really make sense if I send picture to somebody and be like,
Sure.
this is what
Imagine this.
Yeah. Yeah.
or you know, so yeah, but for May we send the pictures, and then I usually get fabrics approved. So basically we do a blouse, and then I just wrap like the fabric around the bottom to, you know, like show like the fabric for the skirt. And then you know, like actually there is a few fabrics for May which were approved last year, which we didn't get a chance to even cut yet. So
Oh, really? Wow. It's a lot of work.
We have some questions from Hearties. Carolyn from Texas says, we saw a few characters this season and last season change up their usual look in several scenes. Is there a character that you think might be fun if they changed up their look, even briefly? And what would that change be in your mind?
So are we talking about like the Halloween costumes or the
No, I think it's maybe just kind of going a different direction, or I'm not sure.
because,
You be
because yeah, I was thinking about that question because like like Luca's got like a new suits, but it's not really like, I wouldn't call it like you're changing really the look. It's more just, I would say, like you are elaborate on the existing look or making
Oh, I
it
love
better,
that.
you
Yeah.
know,
okay.
just more like
Yeah.
evolution. Yeah, I think the evolution is probably the best way to put it. So it's still like within the character, but like he probably could wear something new. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
lose the
I
brown
would
suit.
say like, yeah, like over the seasons, I kind of like to just, evolutionize the characters
Yeah.
look.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Accentuate the positive.
And yeah, so you're staying truthful to the character, but like it's more with the period or the year we are in. And then yeah, like for Elizabeth, like like her silhouette changed this season because her skirts were not as full, and I think
Right.
I talked about it last time, so everything was slimmer, which is more similar to, let's say, Rosemary's silhouette. But it was something what I wanted to do with the, because we had progression of time, right?
Right.
And we don't have time, not time. Like shortening skirts, it was harder for Elizabeth because she looks really great in the long ones, right? So I had to play more with the shape of the skirts than the length. But also when you are looking at the periods, like it's interesting like how much removing that volume which they used to wear out of the skirts just changes everything. So
Oh, I'm sure.
Well, still speaking of volume, have you thought about Rosemary's baby bump if we're lucky enough to get season 10?
well, I guess it really depends like which part of the pregnancy she's going to be, right? Because you never know. Because Erin we only had like when she was like in full bloom.
Yeah, one
So,
Christmas show.
right? So it really depends. Yeah, like how
How much
you
time
know,
has passed? And
yeah, and like if we start with a smaller bump, or it will be 6 months or 9 months, or if
Yeah.
she suddenly has a baby.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
we've got to see her pregnant.
yeah. We
Yeah,
talked
so
to, I was going to say, we talked to John Tinker. He was saying, going forward, if they would get season 10, they want to have at least the third trimester because comedy gold between Rosemary and Lee. I mean, they can, so they think that they want to do that. So, we're like, and I know that I think Pascal was expecting in season 2.
yes.
So she had
Oh,
this
right.
red coat, the larger one. I don't know if that's still there, but I was
It's
like,
still
"Ooh,
there.
really?"
Yeah. No,
Didn't
we
she say she hated that coat?
I'm no, well, I got a note on the friend code which I'm not allowed to use from Hallmark from season 2.
Oh no.
But yeah, like the red code is still with us. I don't know if I would use it though. I kind of, since I started designing the show, I kind of like to make it my own, right? So
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible we will recut it. I don't know.
yeah,
We'll see. And also the other thing is like we start always in like in a spring and summer, right? So like there is not enough episode to even do like the heavy coats. Like we're
yeah.
kind of lucky in season 9 that we actually saw the ladies more in coats than during the season 8.
Oh,
But
really?
Yeah.
didn't really, since we don't have a Christmas episodes, and
Right.
we are actually starting much earlier. The codes are not as much as in use as it used to be, right? So
Yeah, but your collection of coats are fabulous. I mean, every time
Oh, yes.
Elizabeth and Abigail, seasons past, I mean, you could just line it up and I would be it. to me is so gorgeous. The blue one, I think,
The Aaron's blue one?
yeah, uh, so good. Did you do that? Did you rebuild it?
Yeah, that one was from a wrap coat. The
Yeah,
long
yeah.
one, the blue one. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was actually a painful to do. I wanted to swear off.
yeah, yeah. Well, did you post it?
Yeah, it was I think one of my first posts. Yes.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
So it was how
Yeah,
many
it looked like a Frankenstein, the blue coat. Like it was pinned everywhere. And it actually took three times. I had to fit her 3 times in the coat to figure out how to do it, I think.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
because like the thing was at the time you didn't really get those Wally fabrics in Vancouver, especially the colors we use.
Mm,
So it's much easier to, well, not easier, but
yeah.
if we are lucky enough to find a coat in the right color to reconstruct it, then it's much better than, starting from scratch, especially if you cannot find the fabric.
This season, we had some interesting scenes with the kids, with the ice cream fight and the fire in the finale. What kinds of solutions did you use for the ice cream and even for the soot on Lucas's coat?
Are we talking about what ended up on the clothes?
Yeah.
So, luckily enough, I don't have to worry about it.
Oh, really? That's not.
Oh, that was
Oh.
setback.
So, I mean, the savage ended up on the clothes. We actually, oh my gosh, now I don't know if it was the special effects, but like we got we didn't, like the costume department didn't make the stuff which actually ended up to be pretend ice cream on the clothes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So we got a sample of it and we tested it just to make sure if we can wash it and how
Right.
it's going to behave. So obviously from Ellie's dress, we were not able to take it off, but I kind of thought that will be the problem because it's solid white, right? So to wash anything from white is almost impossible. So, but we had a double because I wanted to use that dress again in a future. So I'm basically playing it like it got washed off.
Oh, really?
Yes,
That's
in
interesting.
magical world of filmmaking, it got washed off.
Yeah.
And then for Robert, we luckily had his outfit in doubles already, so that was fine, right? And the other kids, I just basically chose an outfit that if we cannot wash it, then I'm okay to part away with it.
Right. Right.
So it was like specifically, chosen for the scenes, and even for the fire, but anytime when we have to like destroy the costume and we have to work with what we have in the stock and we don't have time, to build, costumes for everybody or even source it out, we just discuss like who can get dirty and who cannot get dirty and how much dirty they can get. And then we usually, well, not usually, but we always try to save the costumes after these type of scenes. So we clean it, dry clean it, and then if it comes out, great, it goes back to the closet. And if it doesn't come out, then it still is somewhere.
They might get dirty again.
In the closet. I know there was I don't know if it was season 8. There was one season when Gowan got dirty. I think it was Gowan's gray vest. Was it a Gowan or Lee? And that didn't come off. So I still have it. You cannot tell the stain under the coat, but if you would take the coat off, you can tell there is a stain.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. So everything gets dry cleaned?
Well, depends
less?
on the piece. We are very safe with dry cleaners because we had in the past few pieces which got shrinked by the dry cleaners.
Yeah.
So like there is stuff which is basically hand washed. Like lots of ladies' blouses are hand washed, and
Oh, sure.
wrap at the end of each season. I kind of specifically decide what's going where, and how we are going to treat it. Just because, and also like certain things, we just air dry, because it's like it doesn't sting, it's not dirty. You don't want to put the item through the stress of a dry cleaners and risk the even a slight possibility of damaging the outfit the outfit or the piece, right? So we are very careful like how we clean everything, and I am very particular about that. So
Wow.
That's
That is
amazing.
so interesting. Yeah, that's a lot. So and now we're gonna go and delve into the Halloween costume. So you mentioned that you had to build some, you had to rent some. And we have those two looks, Juliet and Romeo and Cleopatra and Mark Anthony. So um what did you, well, let me know, what did you rent? And then what did you have to build from scratch?
so for actually Romeo and Juliet, that was actually the story we were talking about last time.
Oh yeah.
So originally, because the script, those characters were actually Andy, Raggedy Ann, and Raggedy Andy. So the way the script was written, it was very funny. So when they rewrote it to Romeo and Juliet, to me, I was still stuck in a funny part.
Oh right.
Oh,
I didn't imagine them to be like romantic.
oh, so you had a mindset of a different thing.
So yeah, sometimes it does happen actually. Like especially if the rewrites come and like you are still sometimes stuck in the last script, because sometimes it gets kind of mixed because certain things are staying and certain things don't. But anyhow, so I was thinking it's supposed to be funny. So we rented very funny Romeo costume.
Oh really?
Yeah, it was very funny, very, like typical, I would say, because we went more with like Italian Renaissance. The one which we rented, I would go more with like the, when you imagine like more Shakespearean, like the British Renaissance,
Okay.
like England, just more like the puffy pants, like everything more
Oh yeah.
like
Uh-huh.
more
Right.
fun, not very romantic, like so, and quite over the top. So that's what we rented, and then I think Peter directed that episode, and then he sent me a picture that he was thinking more something on these lines, and I was like, okay, so that was the outfit which we actually rented.
Okay.
We rented, I think, most of it from Bardona Beach. Uh, so yeah, so the Lee's costume, definitely the doublet. I think the also pants were from Bardona Beach, but we rented, a few variations, and then also, I did a show a long time ago, actually Cinderella, and it was set in the same period. So I rented stuff from actually Capilano University as well, because that's where all the costumes are for
Sure.
Cinderella.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
was the right period. So we just put everything together in the right look, in the direction Peter wanted to go, and we tried it on, and yeah, and then basically the pieces which fit the best, we went with those. For Rosemary, we rented the green part of the dress, but we
The
built the
blouse.
yeah. So she was wearing the green overlay over a gold dress.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So the green was rented, and we altered it and then had to put it back to its original form, because you cannot, alter rentals.
Right,
And
right.
then we built the gold, let's call it like a dress which is worn underneath. And then we added the detail, like the little gold, I think it was the ruffle at the bottom of the green sleeves, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So just to like color match it, we changed the lace, like the lacing on a dress. I think that we changed that, I'm not 100% sure. And then for Anthony, we actually rented the whole outfit from
Really.
Box Costumes. Like here, there is still places in Vancouver which do have those crazy costumes. So
Yeah.
um so that was really lucky. And then for the Cleopatra costume, we actually partly rented and partly built it.
Oh wow.
Um, so we actually built the gold dress, which Rosemary is wearing as Cleopatra, but we used the headpiece, which had like the matching cuffs and the belt, but we didn't use the dress which came with the outfit.
Oh, interesting.
Oh,
Wow.
And then there was another part which we had actually built, but we didn't use because it just was too much fabric on Cleopatra. And then for headpiece, we removed few pieces from it uh, for our purpose, and then we had to put it back on it to get it back to the rental house. And the
Wow.
other thing which we built was actually the crown, which Lee was wearing.
Uh-huh.
We built that from actually real leaves.
Right.
And originally it was supposed to be gold, but we sent a picture of it like in its natural form, and we ended up going with that.
The Cleopatra heads, we talked to Jill and she was like, oh, we loved that. Credited you for finding that.
Yeah, no, like we just didn't have time, right, to build it from scratch. But luckily, like you just try to find the pieces which would work with the vision or something what you would want to build. And
Yeah.
then luckily we were able to find it. And yeah, and Watts costumes, they actually have lots of Cleopatras.
Really? Oh, funny. Have lots to choose from, right?
And did Rosemary like those looks? Because she looked gorgeous.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, Pascal.
Yeah, I'm sure she did. I mean, she posted them and she
Oh,
she
yeah.
tagged everybody. So I think it's always fun for actors to wear something different from their,
Yeah.
like, like from the looks which the character usually wears, right? So it's like
Yeah.
dressing up, but
Yeah.
different dress.
Yeah.
So
Love
fun.
it. Love it.
Well, one of our Hearties admins, Christy Miller from Michigan, would love to know what you consider the most challenging to work on, men, women, or children, and what are your favorite fabrics to work with?
Well, I mean, it's really like, the kids are different, the men's are different, the women's are different. I think the most challenging part, I think it's really finding the fabrics. I think that's probably the hardest, just because you want them to feel that they are right for the period, right? And then they have the right visual look. They don't have to be maybe necessary even right material, but they visually have to read like they are the right for us or what we are trying to do, right? So I would say like sourcing those is quite hard. And obviously we don't have ability to build every piece of clothing, right? So so it's combination of lots of finds, maybe like the kids, because they grow a lot, they are like each season I want them to be casted as fast as possible, because I know that they grow and what we have might not necessarily fit, so they will be definitely like lots of work, right? Like in a sense of like if somebody grows 2 inches, I know what we have in their closet will not really fit, and now we have to do the whole wardrobe for them, right? So
Right.
and then shoes, I would actually say the shoes are sometimes very problematic, because obviously we cannot build shoes from scratch, which would be nice. And yeah, like finding shoes for kids which would work for us is sometimes quite hard. I mean, you can tell they are not historically accurate. We try to do our best to be as close to the visual look of the period as we can. If we can, like this year, we had girls wearing these cute little flats, which I thought, they are not exactly what they would wear, but they are close enough to what they could have. So it was just very exciting to find something, which works, and it's different shoe than the lace-up boots. I mean, we were lucky to find some cute lace-up boots which don't have zippers. I mean, the zipper is kind of got away.
Give it away.
Yeah, so that's the right word. And not get away, but give away. um, but the men's are maybe, I would say, I don't want to say easiest, but they are maybe like on a easier side, just because but also the other thing is like if you want to find like a three-piece suit, it's almost impossible to find something in like which is available in local stores which would actually work,
Right.
so that's definitely something you have to order or find online, because everything, like in a suit stores, if it's a three-piece, it's usually too shiny for us, right? So I mean, if it's a day player, like we just try to stay away from shininess and we go, with the darker color palette. or not day player, but if it's like, just per episode, or, somebody who doesn't stick around for too long.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but like any like textured suits, which, like Lucas is wearing or Lee, we had to order those. So, and then you have to account for shipping, right? And with the COVID, like the shipping wasn't really going as fast as you would.
Oh, no.
For sure.
There was a lot of I would say new looks, but for Lucas, maybe I'm in another world, but I thought like his gray suit was new, and then the navy one, and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
see even in the camera you could see it's almost like you could touch the fabric, because it was really, you kind of bounced off of the camera. So did you get that this season?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, all his,
Good
I mean,
eye.
it was a three-piece suit because he had, I would almost think like 5 new ones.
Oh, really? Yeah, yeah. I saw
Wow.
more
Yeah,
variety.
I think like there was quite a bit. I don't know. There was like one we have, I think, in black and blue. I don't know if the black one was already last season,
Mm,
maybe.
mhm.
But he definitely got. I would have to go through my pictures
Yeah, yeah,
on my phone and be like,
yeah.
this year.
Well, the gray, the lighter ones. So like the gray one, they were in the car with
Yeah, that one was the gray lighter one was definitely new. There was a light brown one, I think.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
and then there's a new blue one, like which kind of reads maybe like a jean fabric, but it's not a jean fabric.
yes.
Oh,
That's
That's
the one that I'm like, oh, I just want to see it, But I love the gray. Love the gray.
It's
Yeah,
amazing
was
that
good.
actually, like we ordered them from this website, and like the quality is really great.
Really,
okay.
I would
wow.
say better than in stores sometimes.
Yeah. So interesting. So we had a conversation with our heart to heart with Kayla Wallace, our Fiona, and we were talking about her shoes. And I know that you and I have talked about that there's a kind of story about the shoes, but we're going to do that. And she loved her boots. She was like, she wants to have those boots, and she was like, wanted to swipe it to go out. So can you talk about all things Fiona and or shoes? We talked about some shoes, but especially with the story about Fiona's original shoes, the one that has like embroidery in it,
Yeah, kind of a
and
little.
about the boots. How
Yeah,
did you find
so it's
those?
funny because I will go to the one with the embroidery second, but with the boots, the ones she loves, they are actually from Mizmoos.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're from Mizmoos. They have sometimes best shoes for us because even Molly has a pair, Florence has a pair.
Oh, really?
Basically, if I need boots right now, there was this other brand in Vancouver, which I actually store, which had really nice shoes, which would work for us, but they closed down. So Mizmoos is kind of like the place to go if I want anything close to our period. And we were really lucky with Fiona's shoes, the black boots. But when we are wrapping the season 9, usually I make sure that we have everything. So I go through, like if we have all the shoes, if we have all the jewelry, if you have all the costumes, because I kind of visually remember if something is missing, right?
Uh,
So I was like, so we were missing the boots.
Oh, no.
Well, but because we have to clean
Sorry,
everything, right?
Kayla.
And so basically, every year after, like you basically are in Jamestown and we have our truck, right? But then we have to move everything to the office and you have to unload the truck, which basically means the office is like a disaster. So you not necessarily know like what's where, right? So I couldn't find the boots. And I was just like, where are your boots?
Uh-oh.
We have them, but yeah, but it was funny. But they are my favorite. I really wish I bought one pair for myself personally.
yeah.
So I hope they will make them again. And the other shoes, the beige one with the embroidery. So I didn't buy them. Like they are actually pre-our season 3, so they are prior the seasons I started
Oh.
designing.
Oh, okay.
They were originally bought for Erin.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Originally bought for Elizabeth. I don't really know why she didn't wear them. Maybe they didn't fit properly, or it's possible that the heel was too high. Because I know when we had Danielle leasing, we always wanted her in a certain height. So we
Right.
couldn't put her in like a taller heels. So it kind of eliminated lots of shoes.
Yeah.
But then Kyla was casted as Fiona. It was really last minute, and in a script, the first thing, which basically the introduction was, you can see her shoes, right? So
Yeah.
we needed something appropriate for the period, very pretty, but we wouldn't ever have time to get her new shoes, which because we didn't know what her size of the feet. Like she was really casted, I think, the day before she ended up on camera. Like
Really?
really, or maybe
Oh.
two. Like it was so tight that basically we definitely had the fitting the day before she went to camera,
Wow.
like in a first thing in the morning. But she wasn't casted like weeks ahead. Like it was really like tight schedule, and we had to build her clothes from scratch. So yeah, so I was just glad that she was the right size. So it was like
Wow.
the shoe fits.
Wow. Unbelievable. Didn't know.
So it was very lucky. Like certain things I think I just find are just luck because like obviously we would buy some other shoes, but we were just lucky that these fit.
Oh, perfect.
Well, and her look is really kind of unique. I mean, she's from San Francisco, and
Right.
she talked about the pantsuits, and especially with the boots and things like that. So, yeah. Did she have one pantsuit, or she has two?
Just one. She
One.
just has
Okay.
right now just one.
Okay. I love that look. So we talked about shoes, and someone was talking about Lucas shoes. Was
Yes.
there some issue with that,
So yeah, so the shoes for Lucas was actually there wasn't an issue really. He just wanted
Oh.
he just wanted new shoes.
Good for him.
Well, you never know, right? Like because I don't wear the shoes, all the cast wears the shoes, so you never know when they are in a state of being like worn out, or like, or how the shoe behaves, because sometimes I might get a shoe and it might get dirty quite quickly or broken down. It's not that sturdy, right? So basically Chris and I talked about it, and he showed me a picture of something what he would like to wear. And then luckily there is Carlos, who actually has a shoe place,
Oh, really?
and it's called, I will just double check this because
Okay.
make it wrong, because I was Googling. Yeah, it's a Mexico leather artistry. And basically, yeah, they are like Mexican shoes, and they are really nice quality. They are not cheap, but they last long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So luckily, he basically had black pair and a brown pair. And I think the black one, he only had one pair because it was like a sample size. So we ended up buying that pair because it actually fit Lucas. And then
Okay.
brown pair, we had number of sizes. So we just tried them, and then he ended up with two. Actually, Lucas has lots of shoes right now. Because he has some other ones, because before we found these two from Carlos, I bought actually another pair for a really great price. Like original price was like 500, but we got them for like over 100.
Wow.
Like Nordstrom Rack, so that was kind of surprising.
So Lucas' closet has more shoes than Elizabeth.
No. I was actually winning on Shoe Friend. Yeah, she has lots of shoes. We don't really use that many of them, but yeah, like we keep all the ones, even like from season 2, like all the fancy ones we still have.
Okay. Well, and then with Nathan, so the Surge, that's a rented
Yes.
boot. Okay. All right. And then, so his casual stuff is that new for, because we've seen him more casual
Mhm,
this season than others. He had a new coat.
that's
Like
right.
that was news. I mean, that was a lot of Hardy world. So like they have the navy coat, you know. Did you do that?
Um,
Was that part of the rental?
Actually, no, that was bought.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, so the
Okay.
clothes was bought. Yeah, like for men's, we don't really, yeah, like because we have to really build like the ladies' clothes and the
Mhm.
kids, especially girls' clothes. Sometimes boys, it really depends. Or, or the special costumes, which are special for the episodes. We don't really have a capacity to build the men's stuff, and it's kind of the stuff which you can find easier. Um, so it's lots of like online search or like even like stores, right? So if we find something, we always get it and just put it in a stock if we can. But yeah, the code was actually purchased online and it fit really lovely. The brown one, I think it's brown, that actually was like from previous seasons. But
Oh,
as I
really?
said, yeah, we didn't really get to the the coat, like coat season as much. And also since he's wearing a serge most of the time, you don't really have a chance to put him in the clothes, right? So even for him, like each season we do a fitting of the casual clothes because you just never know when it comes up, right? So but he has a nice chunk of his casual clothes which we don't really use that much.
Right, right. Interesting.
Well, the next question was mine, but we've actually already discussed it. And it was Renee Robinson from Vancouver, Washington, who had been asking about the Rosemary's Big Red Overcoat. So we've already passed that on, but thanks for the question, Renee. So on to you, Annette.
Okay. Well, this is about the Red Ensemble. Elizabeth and Rosemary rocked it in their twinning moment. What did you need to do to pull it off, as matching reds are sometimes hard to find? And did you build those two ensembles?
So I'm sure probably the viewers and Hearties noticed that Rosemary's outfit wasn't really new. So it was
Oh.
actually from previous seasons. Usually she ends up wearing it during Christmas time.
Yeah.
Oh,
So it's the
yeah.
one which goes with the red coat. So yeah, so I don't really know how we ended up with red. I think it was something what I and Erin discussed because it was a color which she said she will never wear in I think season
Yeah,
two.
that was season one.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Famous last
so
words.
it was intentional. So the color was intentional. The blouse on Elizabeth, we had to reconstruct. So it was actually bought, but it was like a little Frankenstein.
Oh.
I actually have a picture of me wearing it with all the pins in it. Um, so, and then for the skirt, we made a new skirt, obviously, for Elizabeth. I don't know if we had to buy the fabric, like new fabric. It's possible we actually ended up buying fabric to match more closer to Rosemary's fabric of the red skirt, which I wanted to use because I don't think we had this sort of like the same, like the same red. I had a
Mhm.
lot, like we have lots of red fabrics or like burgundies, but I think that we had to actually buy
Right.
one because we didn't have anything close to it. So
Wow. I mean, but reds are, it's so hard to kind of match anyway, because you have that blue hue versus a orange base, or I
Mhm.
mean, so reds are, that's, to me, it's hard
Mhm.
in my world.
well, we were lucky. So I don't think it was as hard to find as some of my other dilemmas.
Uh, well, it was such a fun scene, and we really appreciated that.
That was good.
So Deborah from Georgia commented that she absolutely loves the costumes, especially the women's more formal wear. And she's so amazed at your talent, as we are too. Thinking of formal wear, though, we just saw the great engagement with Elizabeth and Lucas and little LJ. Not knowing what the writers will see in the vision for next season, if we have a season 10, but What have you been thinking about maybe the dress or even something of little Jack for the wedding? Because, we're ready.
It's fine.
All the Hearties are love a great wedding.
So hypothetically speaking, I think since we bought the last wedding dress for Elizabeth, I would actually like to build this one from scratch,
That would be fun.
which would be
Yes.
probably my way to go. There is a fabric I bought last time and we didn't use, which I think could still be used.
Oh,
I actually bought a white fabric for myself as well, which I didn't use, which could be actually maybe even better than the other one I'm thinking.
oh.
Wow.
No, because you just never know, like with fabrics, right? Like I kind of unfortunately collect fabrics as much as I collect. So
That's nice to know.
it would be probably good to like cut some of those up. It's funny though, because I was cleaning up wedding dresses in our office stock room, and I ran across like the wedding dresses, and I was just sending pictures to Erin and was like, "What about this one?"
Funny.
There was this one which looked very like 20s, but it wasn't really something I would actually put her in, but it was just fun to tease her about it because she didn't like that one at
You
all.
gotta pick.
And then there were some, like puffy ones, which I was thinking like, oh, these would be like a great reconstructions, like if it would go like back in time, not like, towards the 20s. So I don't know. I think it really depends what they will write, right? I read somewhere that if you have a second wedding, especially during that time, it probably the wedding dress shouldn't be white. So that's something, another thing to keep in mind. So you never know.
But you
like
have all this lovely white
I know.
fabric.
I know.
And so I don't know. We will see.
Yeah.
Wow. What about
We look
little
forward to that.
I think Little Jack probably will be wearing a three-piece suit. I cannot imagine any other way. But it depends also the weather, right? Like, is it going to be winter, summer, spring, fall? Because
They discussed every season.
Yeah.
even Highland, we did a heart-to-heart with Highland. And he said something about what is her favorite costume. He said suspenders. So I'm like, oh, so cute. I love him though. I hope
so
we
sweet.
have. I want another season, but I really want more of Highland. He's so cute.
Well, the costumes are part of the magic of Hope Valley. And Barbara, we thank you so much for joining us for this post-season special Heart to Heart. And thank you, Hearties. We hope you've been enjoying these chats. And if you missed anything throughout season 9, be sure to check out all the Heart to Heart chats in our official Hearties Admins YouTube channel. So we'll see you there.